we've spent a lot of this Corona time during the period between Pesach and Shavuot, where we're counting the Omer, we're counting every day. And all of Corona, I've been on an emotional roller coaster, and I felt that way about Omer. Sometimes I find myself saying, I don't even know if it's Tuesday, and you're telling me I need to mark time? And other times I find myself saying, thank God, I don't even know it's Tuesday, so comes the Torah and tells me, here's an extra way to mark time.
And no, I totally hear that. I find that there's so much of how and why couples fight or have conflict in the relationship has to do with feeling undervalued or disrespected within the relationship. And what I'm seeing in my clinic currently, but also in general, is that so much of the feeling of being undervalued has to do with how we relate to each other's time and how we respect each other's time. In regular life, I kind of use the example, or I imagine the scene that the working wife comes home to the stay-at-home dad and she sees a pile of dishes in the sink and she turns to him and she says, what did you do all day? You didn't have a chance to wash the dishes. What have you been doing all day? And the need to look at each other, to calculate each other's usage of time, to judge each other based on that he's watching TV too much, she's on Instagram too much. There's a lot of undervaluing and potential for disrespect within how we organize ourselves around time. And I think one of the main factors of why Corona time has been challenging for so many is that there is a real breakdown in how we experience time. Everything was kind of thrown up, and there is an endless amount of free time, which we know isn't really free time, but let's call it non-organized time, okay? And so what I would like to offer to couples during this time is to have the opportunity to sit down with each other, and this has to be an activity done together as a unit, and to designate time. And I'm not talking about creating a schedule. I'm not a schedule person. We tried that route. It lasted less than 24 hours in our house. That's not how I work. But I am talking about being able to sit with your partner and organize yourselves around your time, okay? Recognizing what are the family's needs. I'm talking about each person's potential jobs, house care, children, school, food prep, okay? What are the needs? Of course, starting with individual time, and right alongside that, time for the couple alone together. Okay, we discussed in our last conversation together the designated space, and so how do we find the time to actually utilize that space? And I'm not talking about a daily schedule. I'm talking about looking at the week and finding out what we can fit in where. Talking about a week or bi-weekly. And this is something very important that I encourage the couple to sit down and do together with their calendar, okay? And of course, there are going to be flaps. Like if the internet goes down during one of the couples and one of the partners' important meetings, or if the grocery order arrives and it's missing, X, Y, and Z important ingredients that I needed for that recipe. But it will be easier to partner surrounding these inconveniences when there's a feeling of mutual respect, grounded by designated time. Once that conversation happens before, and each person is equally invested in the conversation and is able to express their needs and how they view what could work for this family, and that ends up being a back and forth, we discuss it, we figure out something that makes sense for both of us. The flaps, the inconveniences are easier to move through with that foundation, with that strong foundation. And of course, the feeling of being valued in a relationship is not unique to COVID-19. And these skills are far more important now. I would say these skills are far more important now as time is, this new being in our lives. So hopefully that could be useful. And thank you for joining.
Wow, Abby, that was such a helpful tool to give to our audience. And I encourage everybody to take a look at part 2 of our Reimagining Time, where we talk specifically about reimagining time in our physical intimacy. See you there.
Take care.